Thursday morning, Central Georgia, you're taking a live look over a beautiful downtown Macon. The time is now 6:30 a.m. here on this February the 16th. Thank you so much for staying with us. I'm Wanye Reese. All you need this morning is probably just a light jacket as you head out the door. But Alex is telling us that some changes are on the way as far as our weather.
Tomorrow morning, you're going to need the rain jacket across central Georgia as a cold front begins to work its way through. It's going to take these temperatures and knock them down. 52 in Macon, 53 in Warner Robins, 51 in Perry this morning, and 52 in Milledgeville. By the time we're waking up on Saturday morning, those numbers are going to be some 20 degrees colder. Nothing out there in central Georgia this morning. A whole lot of something. You work your way up towards the north and west. Flash flood warnings in effect for parts of Kentucky, Tennessee. A severe thunderstorm warning just north of the Little Rock area. This all part of a cold front that is continuing to slide towards central Georgia. And as we wake up this morning, we are still looking at the temperatures in the 50s because the southerly wind is setting the stage for those storms to arrive. So for today, 79, the high temperature, I should say. Average high is 64, so some 15 degrees above that. More clouds than sun across central Georgia with wind out of the south 10 to 15 miles an hour. The rain will arrive through the overnight hours. We'll take an hour-by-hour look at future view and check that out and talk about a storm threat, if any, here in central Georgia, coming up here in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Alex. We'll talk to you soon. This morning, the Bibb County Sheriff's Office is asking for your help finding a missing person. They say 55-year-old Richard Rowland was last seen leaving an extended stay hotel on Riverside Drive with George Battle on February the 10th. They drove away in Rowland's 2004 Toyota Tacoma. The Sheriff's Office says someone reported that Battle had returned in the truck without Rowland. Residents of the hotel say Rowland possibly suffers from mental illness or autism. Rowland is 5'10" and has brown eyes. If you have any information on his whereabouts, call the Macon Regional Crime Stoppers at 1-877-68-CRIME. That number again for you, it's 1-877-68-CRIME. New information in the story that we brought to you on Tuesday in the case of a Macon pastor who will serve at least 20 years in prison after raping a 14-year-old girl. We've confirmed Donald Williams, you see him there, was a guest pastor speaking at churches around central Georgia. But several churches apparently missed red flags in Williams' past. In September of 2021, a 14-year-old was walking away from a school when Williams pulled up and offered her a ride. He parked the car at a dead-end street and assaulted her. Houston County Superior Court records show he pleaded guilty to exposing himself to a 16-year-old in April of 2010. That's when he was added to Georgia's sex offender registry. Under Georgia law, sex offenders cannot work or volunteer at churches. But between 2010 and 2021, Facebook posts and videos show Williams preached at several churches in central Georgia. Well, over in Houston County, a Warner Robins woman believes that there's too much crime in the city. So she's putting together a town hall where people can meet with local law enforcement. Louise McBride says that she's lived in Warner Robins since 1977 and says this is not the city she knew. McBride says she's seen an increase in gun-related crimes. She wants to know why it's happening and how to put an end to it. She says it will take a group effort, so she's asking everybody in the community to share their concerns. McBride says she wants to walk around again in her neighborhood and feel safe.
You don't want to worry about going to some place and not being able to return home to your family. You don't want to worry about sitting on your front porch and not being able to go back into your home. You want to have a community that you can enjoy your front porch, you can enjoy your shopping areas and everything.
Interim Police Chief Roy Whitehead says they believe most gun crimes are gang-related. They've seen an increase in shots being fired without hitting anyone. The department will have a town hall next Tuesday at 400 Alberta Road at 7 p.m. In state news today, we could get to see parts of the grand jury reports on potential criminal actions by people tied to former President Donald Trump following the 2020 elections. A Georgia judge ruled earlier this week to release the documents. Fulton County Superior Court Judge Robert McBurney says the full report includes a list of who should or should not be indicted and the potential crimes they committed. The report includes a section that lays out concerns about some witnesses potentially lying under oath. DA Fannie Willis is expected to release the reports today, but some parts may be marked out. In some lighter news, Tyler Perry continues to make a difference around Georgia. The actor turned studio exec donated $750,000 to help Atlanta's low-income seniors with rising property taxes. The Atlanta film studio owner collaborated with Atlanta's mayor to assist seniors on the verge of being displaced due to high property values. The donation funds will be used to pay off back property taxes for over 300 low-income seniors. This payment also includes payment on back county and city taxes. In addition to payment on owed taxes, Perry's donation will also freeze property taxes by paying the difference between the current tax and pending increases through a pilot program. Tomorrow in Macon, the Tubman Museum will reveal an exhibit in Perry's honor. Well, the Georgia Senate passed a bill to deter dogfighting in our state. Senator Rick Williams of Milledgeville says more and more gangs are actually using dogfighting to raise money for other illegal activity. So his bill defines dogfighting as an illegal racketeering sport. Racketeering is a term referring to organized crime that makes a profit. Dogfighting is already illegal, but putting it under Georgia's RICO Act, the state's racketeering law, means repeat offenders would see higher penalties.
A pattern of dogfighting would constitute a felony and be punishable by 5 to 20 years in prison and in fines.
Williams says currently the punishment is only 1 to 5 years. The Senate passed the legislation with a vote of 47 to 7. So now if it heads to the House. Right now, Macon Bibb's violence prevention program wants to continue to make a difference to curb violence in the community. The program is launching applications for a spot in their Family Time program. They're inviting families in the community to learn about meaningful reading and learning activities. The information session is tomorrow from 5:30 to 7 at Bloomfield Gilead Rec Center on Rocky Creek Road. Space is limited in the free 11-week program. If you can't make the info session and you're interested in applying, call or text 478-318-9668. Again, that's 478-318-9668, or email info@leadwithliteracyga.org. Macon is continuing its fight against littering and illegal dumping. The commission is set to approve $500,000 next week to help with cleanup. Part of that would go towards a program designed to catch people dumping trash illegally. It's part of the $500,000 plan for the county to contract gig workers to clean up litter and illegal dump sites. Commissioners approved everything at Tuesday's meeting, but it requires another vote. The county tried using cameras to catch people dumping trash a couple years back. Commissioner Bill Howell says the program worked until many of those cameras were stolen. Now they're looking for a more permanent set to crack down on the practice.
There is absolutely no excuse in doing this to people's community. We're not going to tolerate it anymore. Whatever it takes, we're going to catch you. And when we do catch you, we're going to prosecute you to the fullest extent.
Howell says if the commission approves the measure next week, then it'll go to Code Enforcement Director J.T. Ricketson's office for his staff to start working things out and figuring out what camera system would be best. Commissioner Howell believes people keep dumping trash because they don't know their options to get rid of bulk waste. Macon-Bibb County has 2 convenience centers for people to use free of charge. The first one is on 11th Street in downtown Macon. It's open 7 days a week from 8:30 to 4. The other is on Fulton Mill Road behind Animal Welfare. That center is open Thursday through Sunday at the same hours. You must live in Bibb County in order to use them. Go ahead and mark your calendar for the next community-wide cleanup in Macon. That's going to be on March the 4th. It's the 5th community cleanup since the Clean Streets Matter program started in 2021. It continues to grow as volunteers and local groups come out to help out. And if you want to host a cleanup in your own neighborhood, you can go to their website at keepmaconbibbbeautiful.org. It's 6:39, it's Thursday, and Scene 13 is here. And that's your go-to for all things entertainment, arts, and culture. Our morning reporter TJ Anthony joins us live in studio. And TJ, I hear a Maconite's life is getting highlighted in a movie.
And Wanda, you're exactly right. Little Richard exploded on the music scene with his rock and roll and polarizing stage presence and just, of course, his larger-than-life appearance, right? Well, now the Macon legend's life is the centerpiece of a documentary film that's expected to be released for you to see soon.
Richard paved the road for many, many artists, and whether it be the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Michael Jackson, James Brown.
Little Richard's cousin, Stanley B. Stewart, says the architect of rock and roll loved his hometown Macon, and he wants his cousin's legacy to go on to inspire others.
In his Richard way of saying it, he says, well, baby, we're the past. You guys have got to keep things going.
The Tutti Frutti singer lives on in classic film and TV cameos, whether it's Baywatch, Why Do Fools Fall in Love, or even the animated series The Simpsons. Now, Richard's legacy lives on in his own way through a documentary film about his life.
The movie I'm Everything, a portion of it was filmed here in Macon. I was glad to be a part of that. Lisa Cortez, in conjunction with Rolling Stone magazine, did a great job on the movie. It did great at Sundance, and it's now set to be released nationwide and worldwide.
The film highlights Little Richard's role as a revolutionary performer torn between religion and rock and roll, in an era where his sexuality and race made the world even more complex for him to navigate.
It encapsulates his entire life. It really envelops who he was as a person during his lifetime.
And movie critic Nick Allen, who actually saw the film at the Sundance Film Festival, says the movie best fosters a general understanding of his music and makes you actually want to dig deeper in his art. Now, Paul McCartney, Mick Jagger, and others are actually in the movie. Wanye, back to you.
Thank you, TJ. Well, there's nothing like it in the world. See how an innovative plant in Soperton hopes to change the aviation fuel industry. Suzanne's, they make that here. It's just ahead. Plus, some students in Central Georgia will get a break next week. Need somewhere for them to spend the day? Where you can take your kids to learn is coming up next. It's 6:41. Alex has a full check of your forecast, Central Georgia.
Yeah, good morning, Wanye. We are waking up in Dublin, the first light in the sky. Notice the sunrise is continuing to get earlier as we add daylight. A fair amount of people out there on the roads as well this morning. A temperature of 50 degrees right now. Winds, they are calm, so it feels like 50 there in Dublin. 52 in Macon, 53 in Warner Robins, 55 over in Sandersville, 48 in Monticello, 51 in Forsyth, and 56 in Rochelle. 11 degrees warmer in Thomaston this morning than we were yesterday. 16 degrees warmer down in Cordele, 10 degrees warmer in McRae, and 5 degrees warmer here in Macon. The radar spinning around from Twiggs County, not finding anything here in Central Georgia. However, you go off towards the north and west. Some severe weather this morning. That's parts of Arkansas, Tennessee, northern Mississippi. A tornado watch in effect there. A tornado warning just outside of Nashville. They're in a level 3 severe weather day out there. So yeah, from the Ohio River Valley down through central portions of Kentucky, Nashville itself, parts of Mississippi, Alabama, we'll say Birmingham over towards Florence, Alabama, Starkville, Mississippi, down towards Hattiesburg in a level 3 risk. Back here in Central Georgia, only just a few places clipped by a level 1. So that's going to be Monroe County, Crawford, down to Taylor County and areas out to the west. And in fact, for tomorrow, for Friday, there's not even a risk area anywhere in for the United States for that matter. So weakening line of storms rolling into Central Georgia as we head into the overnight hours today, looking at mostly cloudy skies. I really don't think we're going to squeeze out a shower or two. I think our air is just a little too dry for that. But then into the night tonight, here comes the rain from the northwest. There's 2 a.m. tomorrow morning, still dry here in Central Georgia, but then by the time we get to 3, 4, 5 o'clock, the rain will begin to build in, potentially a soggy commute to work and school tomorrow morning. Rain hanging around 8, 9, 10 o'clock. Then the last of it will get out of here right around the noon hour, setting the stage for a clearer and cooler Friday evening. Mercer baseball gets underway tomorrow night. It will be a cold first game as temperatures find their way down into the 30s during the overnight hours for Saturday morning. Saturday afternoon, though, perfectly clear across Central Georgia. No clouds to speak of, no rain to speak of, just a sunny day. On Sunday, we'll get some more clouds back in here before we get into next week and temperatures begin to warm up once again. So temperatures today, wasting no time, beginning to warm up. 60 by 9 a.m., 72 by noon, and we are not stopping there. How about 79 later on this afternoon? Just like yesterday, I'm expecting more clouds than sun. Average high is 64, so going 15 degrees above that with a light wind out of the south, 10 to 15 miles an hour. Could gust at times upwards of 20 to 25. A few spots today could also break the 80-degree mark. I would not at all be surprised if we do that, say Irwinton, Wrightsville, Dublin, 80 down in Rochelle and McRae today. But into the days ahead, we will be cooler. 57 tomorrow afternoon. One of those weird days where we do the high temperature in the morning and then another high later in the afternoon. So that 57 is the afternoon temperature. Same for Saturday, but with more sun. 66 on Sunday, 73 by President's Day, and right back to 80 by next Wednesday.